Welcome back to the deep dive. When a major franchise hits 2 decades, 20 years, that's not just an anniversary. It feels like a real milestone.
Oh, absolutely. And few franchises feel quite as, well, monumental as God of War. It's built quite the legacy.
Totally. And PlayStation clearly thought so too. They marked it with some pretty special hardware.
That's right. And for this deep dive, our source material is looking closely at that piece. It's a review of the limited edition DualSense wireless controller they put out for the 20th anniversary.
Okay, right. So let's unpack this. This isn't just about, looking at pictures online. We want to dig into the actual experience. What we're trying to figure out for you, the listener, is, well, what's the real value here? Is this limited edition DualSense like a genuine collector's item? Does it really honor Kratos' legacy and pack in that cutting-edge tech?
Or is it, maybe, just a really nice looking shell? Same controller underneath, but with a premium price tag just for the looks.
Exactly. That's the mission. We're digging into the aesthetics, yeah, but also the tech, the feel, and whether it's actually worth it for, the serious fan out there.
Right. Is it something you use every day or something you put on a shelf? Or maybe, just maybe, it manages to be both.
Let's start with the look then, the first impression. The sources seem to agree Sony on an interesting route here. They call it a clean, elegant look.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising, isn't it? You often expect limited editions to be, well, flashy, maybe a bit over the top.
Right, especially for God of War. It's a franchise known for being pretty brutal, intense.
Exactly. Dark, violent, lots of rage. And yet the base color of this controller is this, crisp white. It definitely makes you pause.
I gotta say, my first thought seeing it was white for Kratos. The Ghost of Sparta covered in ash, it felt a bit clean. Does the review dig into why that works?
It does, actually, and it seems intentional. It's not just random white. The idea is that crisp white base connects back to Kratos' past, maybe those ashes. It's symbolic.
Okay, I see.
And then that's contrasted with the black touchpad, maybe representing the darker themes, the Norse setting, the cold.
Osingard, yeah. And then there are those subtle but striking red accents. For me, that ties it all together. That's the blood. That's the blades of chaos. That's Kratos' mark.
Precisely. The review argues that this restraint is actually why it works so well. It feels timeless rather than over the top. It's respectful.
So it whispers the theme instead of shouting it.
Yeah, exactly. And that makes it a great display piece, too. It apparently looks fantastic on display next to a PS5 or on a shelf.
Yeah.
You get that collector buzz without it being, distracting.
And the God of War logo itself, it's right there on the touchpad, centered, clean.
It's contained. It avoids that trap of plastering decals all over the place, which can sometimes look a bit messy.
Yeah, definitely seen those. Okay, so visually it sounds like a success, but what about actually holding it? If you're paying extra, the build needs to feel solid, right? Is it just standard DualSense materials?
Well, the sources say the quality is top-notch. It definitely feels premium, which you'd kind of expect from Sony, especially for a limited edition.
Okay.
But the key thing the review looks at is the finish itself. Like, is that special coloring going to wear off? If you're actually using it a lot.
Right. That's crucial. If you're grinding through Ragnarok, you don't want your collector's item looking all scratched up after a month.
Exactly. But the review suggests the finish seems pretty robust. It doesn't feel like a cheap sticker job or anything. It seems like it's meant to last.
That's good to hear. And the actual feel in the hand, the ergonomics?
They're pretty much unchanged. It still has that slightly textured grip on the back, which is honestly really important for longer play sessions. Helps keep it secure.
Yeah, that texture makes a difference. So basically, physically, it is the DualSense we already know, just in a really nice limited edition outfit.
Pretty much, yeah. And the review calls that no bad thing, which makes sense.
Why mess with a good design, right?
Exactly. They didn't need to reinvent the controller itself. They took something that works great and give it a special aesthetic. Familiarity here is actually a plus.
Okay, but this is where it gets really interesting for me. It's not just a piece of plastic, it's a DualSense. We have to talk about the immersion tech. Does this controller, meant to honor God of War, deliver on that front? The haptics, the triggers?
Oh, absolutely. And that's key. That underlying tech is why the DualSense is still seen as such a genuine game changer. Even in this limited skin, it's a powerful tool. It actively makes playing God of War feel different.
Right. Those adaptive triggers? They really are something else. They add that physical resistance. Does the source give specific examples for God of War? Like, how does it feel?
It does. It highlights things like actually feeling the tension when you're drawing back a bowstring with Atreus. It's not just a button press. You feel that resistance build.
Yeah.
Or, crucially, feeling the recoil of an axe. When Kratos throws the Leviathan axe and calls it back,
Yeah.
you feel that funk, that impact through the triggers. It really connects you to the action.
That physical feedback loop, it must make combat feel much more visceral.
Definitely. And then you've got the haptic feedback working alongside it, which again isn't just basic rumble.
No, it's much more detailed, right?
Yeah.
The source says it delivers precise, nuanced vibrations across the palms.
Exactly. So you feel different textures, environmental effects, maybe the crunch of snow underfoot or the energy of casting magic. It all comes through your hands in a really specific way.
So while the design is commemorative, the tech underneath ensures it's still, a high-performance controller for actually playing the games. It's not just for show.
Precisely. It enhances the experience of playing something like Ragnarok, making the practical value match up with the premium look.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty then, the practical stuff. Performance, limitations. The source is clear. Performance-wise, it's identical to the standard DualSense.
Yep, nothing new here, which, like we said, isn't really a criticism for a cosmetic edition. It's just stating the fact.
But that brings us to the Achilles heel, maybe. The battery life. How does it hold up?
Ah, yes. The eternal DualSense question. The review describes it as serviceable. It says it lasts several hours comfortably.
Serviceable.
Doesn't exactly scream premium, does it? It sounds, okay, adequate.
Well, yeah. It implies it works, but maybe not as long as some might hope. The review does suggest it could still be better.
Is there any insight into why it's still just serviceable after all this time?
It really seems to come down to those features we were just praising. The adaptive triggers, the complex haptics, they just draw a lot of power.
Ah, right. The cost of immersion.
Pretty much. You get these amazing detailed effects, but the trade-off is needing to charge it more often. The source acknowledges this tension. It's powerful, but power-hungry.
Okay, well, thankfully, charging via USB-C is reasonably quick, right? And connectivity, wired or wireless, is usually seamless with these.
Yeah, those aspects are fine. You won't be stuck waiting forever to charge, but it's definitely something you need to be mindful of. Keep that cable handy. So this naturally leads us to the big question. Cost versus value. It's a limited edition, so availability is restricted.
And it comes with that slight premium over the standard model, as expected.
So who is this actually for? Who should consider paying that extra bit?
The review breaks it down pretty clearly. If you are a die-hard fan of God of War, someone really invested in Kratos' saga, then yeah, the price premium probably feels justified.
Because it's more than just a controller to them.
Exactly. It's a collector's item that ties directly into a beloved franchise, and it's a fantastic controller to actually use for those games. The design resonates.
Okay. But what if you're more of a casual player? Maybe you like God of War, but aren't super deep into the lore, or you just need an extra controller.
The standard DualSense is probably the smarter buy. The performance is exactly the same, so you're saving money by skipping the special design you might not value as highly.
Makes sense. So what was the final verdict from the review? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Very positive, actually. Called it a celebration done right. The review felt it really respects the God of War legacy with that subtle design, while still being fundamentally a fantastic controller.
So it manages to hit both notes, practical for gaming and desirable as a collector's piece.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus. It works on both levels.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big picture takeaway here? It sounds like Sony kind of threaded the needle. They took hardware we already know is great.
Right, the standard DualSense.
And they gave it this limited edition skin that actually feels connected to the franchise, not just slapped on. It's tasteful, uses that great immersion tech.
Those triggers, the haptics.
And combines it with a design that resonates. So it holds its value beyond just the anniversary buzz, because underneath it all, it's still one of the best controllers out there.
Exactly. It merges the form and function really effectively. And that merger raises a kind of interesting final thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Oh, go on.
Well, we're seeing more of these limited edition hardware pieces, right? Consoles, controllers. And this one, like the review points out, is both the piece of gaming history and uses cutting-edge tech like haptics and adaptive triggers.
Right. Function and collectability.
So the question is, how does that change what we think of as memorabilia in this digital gaming age? Does having that state-of-the-art function inside the collectible make the physical object itself more meaningful? Or is the function really just the justification we use for paying a premium price for what's ultimately a decorative item?
Is it enhancing the collectible or just rationalizing the cost?
Yeah, exactly. Something to think about as you decide whether this kind of history belongs in your hands, actively being used, or maybe just admired on your shelf.